Hello everybody and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have the first of my 12 weeks of Christmas 2022 card series. So let's jump right in. So I am going to create a circle card, and this is the first one I've ever created. So I did struggle a little bit with how to create my circle base. So if you know a better way to do this, let me know, because I did struggle a little bit. And then supervisor number 2 had to come and check out what I was doing because I wasn't doing it correctly, and she's not wrong. So, it worked out pretty well. I am going to use my Switch, which is my die cutting machine. And I have my Magic Mat here, and I haven't found the right sandwich for my Magic Mat yet, so I'm struggling to cut through certain things, and I did get a little bit frustrated, so you're going to see me later not use the Magic Mat. I'm just going to use the plates that come, well, these aren't the ones that come with the Switch because I bought the standard sized base, and it comes with the longer plates, but so I'm going to use them, and I did have to cut my card base and my gold metallic cardstock more than once. And then this is where I'm trying to kind of create that circle base. So I took an A2 base that I'd already folded down, and that's what I'm cutting it out of. And I have a set of nested circle dies, and I used 3 of those dies for this. The stamp set that I'm going to use in a little bit here doesn't actually have a circle die to cut out the circle image. So I did have to use a nested circle die for that as well. So I did pull 3 out because I wanted that gold cardstock for a mat. I wanted the larger one for the base, which is what I'm trying to cut here. And then I used one to cut out the actual stamped image. So I'm sure that honestly there is a better way to do this than what I am doing, but this is the only way I could come up with at the time, and it did work. It just took a little bit of fighting for me to get the stuff to die cut properly, and to kind of get it to work how I wanted it to. So I just wanted to leave that kind of in there so you guys could kind of see how I came about getting my circle, but if you know a better way, please let me know, because this was a bit of a pain in the arse. And then I did have to trim just the little edges there because I didn't have my plates going the whole way so that it wouldn't cut into the circle and then cut off my little flap. I didn't quite cut through the whole way, but it did work. You can see here that I do now have a circle, so it did work. It took a few more steps than I thought it would. So that's okay. We got there. So I'm going to use the Clearly Besotted stamps and dies. And this was from Stamptember from last year, 2021's Stamptember. So you can't get this set anymore, obviously, but I realized that I got it last year and then I didn't use it. So I really wanted to use it because it's so cute. So I chose to use it. I know you guys can't get it, and hopefully that doesn't make anybody really upset, but I will try to find sets that are similar to this one so that you can kind of recreate this card if that's something that you'd like to do. I think that a lot of my videos are really just kind of like techniques that would work with stuff that you already have in your stash. So, I mean, you could create this without a circle image specifically. Like, you could create many things into circle images. I've done that in the past. So there are ways that you could create this without this specific set. And then here's supervisor number 1. She had to make sure that my Copic coloring was up to par. So she actually sits on my desk the most. It's really quite funny, but I like to leave these clips in so you guys can see the cats because I do get questions about them. So jumping into the Copic coloring, you saw me stamp out my images with some Memento Tuxedo black ink. And this is on HammerMill Cardstock because it is Copic safe and the inks are good on it, as is the Memento. And then I used 3 grays there. That was neutral 1, neutral 3, and neutral 5. So N1, N3, and N5. And then for the sky here, I'm using B37, B39, and B99. I like to work in 3 color combos. It's kind of my preference. I do sometimes, if they're larger images, bring in a 4th color, but generally I stick with a 3 color combo. And I pretty much always start from lightest to darkest. It gives me the most control when I'm coloring, and I like to kind of do that when I'm doing my blends. There's no right way to do this or wrong way to do it though. So really, I mean, whatever you're comfortable with is kind of the best case scenario for you. But I do kind of like to do a whole wash of my lightest color, then my mid-tone to wherever I need it, then my darkest tone, and then back to my mid-tone to pull it out to blend with the darkest tone, and then the lightest tone again, just to kind of blend all of the colors together. Now, I'm not the best Copic colorist, there's no question there. I really enjoy it. I should practice more than I do, but You know, it's one of those things where there's so many fun techniques and I usually forget certain ones. So you guys will see some Copic colored videos coming up just because I haven't done it in a while and I really kind of miss that way of coloring. So you will see them come back in. So for the greens here, I used G17, G28, and G29. And I really kind of focus my darkest colors anywhere that there would be shadows. So under the baubles on the tree, and then when I was doing the mountain, I added shadows to the bottom of the mountain where the clouds kind of sat. Now, these clouds are a little bit of the exception. Originally, I thought that I was just going to use, this is B01. I'm just going to use that to add some color. And then I didn't like how white it was. So I brought in B0, like quadruple zero. So B0000 and a B00. So I'm going to lay a whole wash of the B quadruple zero down. This is the lightest tone. And then I'm going to come in with the B00 and blend that out. So this is, if I had done this the first time, you would have seen me, go lightest to darkest and then back into my lightest. But because I started with my darkest tone, I have to kind of work backwards a little bit to make the blend work for me. So you can do darkest to lightest. I've seen lots of people do it. Amy R does it that way, but I'm not that confident in my coloring, so I don't do it that way, but you absolutely can. And then for my rainbow, I really wanted to do kind of dark colors and pastels. That's kind of what I was thinking. Don't ask me why. I just thought the color combo would be kind of fun. So I brought in, that was RV00, then I have Y00, G00, B00, and V01. And that's only because I don't own V00, if there is one. There may not even be one, I'm not totally sure. And I did kind of mess up my rainbow order. I mixed the blue and the green backwards, but honestly, it doesn't matter. I mean, I still think that it looks quite pretty. And here, I mean, it's so small that it's kind of a little bit hard to tell what colors I'm doing, but I think that it turned out quite pretty. And you see that I'm also doing the unicorn's manes with those same pastel colors. And I do the horns as well. And then for the bodies of the unicorns, I used C1, C3, and C5. Those are cool grays. You could use warm grays alternatively if you'd prefer, or tonal grays. I don't actually own the tonal grays, so I've never used them, but I do have a tendency towards the cool grays just because the warm grays have more of a brownish color and I tend to not enjoy that as much. But you could literally, you could have done these any color. I chose gray because I wanted the other colors to stand out. So that's kind of my thought process there. And then I also use C9 for like the hooves of the unicorns just to add a little more of that shadowed darkness. And then for the muzzle, I guess. These aren't dogs, but that part of the unicorn, I used E41 and E43 for that. And I just did two colors because, there's such a small area that I didn't really think that it mattered. But you, again, could do anything. I kind of try to use a difference of color just because I think it's kind of fun to add those different colors. But you could literally color these anything and they'd be stunning. These images are just so cute. So, and then because I'm on this huge gold kick right now, I brought in some Liquitex gold acrylic ink and I'm just painting it on with my smallest paintbrush. I'm pretty sure this is a 0. And I just used that to add gold to the ornaments, to the little lights on the one unicorn that's kind of wrapped in them. And then I kind of colored half of the candy cane gold. So the candy cane, I kind of ended up wanting it to be like one white stripe and one gold stripe. So you're going to see later when I kind of hold it up that the areas that aren't gold have shadowing on the bottom, and I did that with one of my gray Copic markers. Again, it's just very, very subtle. Because I wanted them to be white, I just had to add a little shading so that it didn't look flat. So that was kind of my thought process there. And then here I'm going to take a stamp from that stamp set and just stamp it on the inside of my card base. This is just so that I could say my sentiments. I didn't want to put it on the outside. I felt like there was already a fair amount going on the outside. So I chose to just do a sentiment on the inside of the card and leave the outside pretty whimsical and just kind of fun. It's a very non-traditional Christmas colored card, but I love it. I think that it turned out ridiculously cute, and I'm really excited that I used this stamp set. So it worked out pretty well. Now this is a bit dangerous. It's not necessary. However, I really wanted my lines to be crisp. And I do find that when you Copic color, you don't always have crisp lines simply because the ink will kind of eat the color a little bit. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So I chose to stamp them again, and I was really lucky. I left them in my Misti where they stamped the first time, and I was able to do that. But be very, very careful because you can mess them up. I know Kelly Ledavola, or Kelly Taylor now, but I know that she actually goes and outlines everything with a pen instead. But I don't trust my outlining skills, so I did not try to do that. I just stamped them again. But here you can see that I'm back to using both of the plates instead of using my Magic Mat, and they cut perfectly. So I may revert to using the plates for a while and just see how that works for me. I find that these seem to have less issues warping just because that base is so large and kind of takes a lot of the brunt of the plates warping, whereas my Gemini plates would warp almost instantaneously. Like the second you put them through, they were already starting to warp, and it was really frustrating. So hopefully I will have less issues with warping with this die cutting machine, but we'll see with time how that kind of goes. So, and I just kind of laid out my images how I wanted them to be, and then I am going to adhere them down with some Nuvo Deluxe glue, and then I bring in my Big Mama foam tape here from Simon Says Stamp to kind of adhere down my roll or my circle onto the base. And I just wanted to remind you guys, in case you haven't checked out my last couple of videos, I opened a PO box. And if you're interested in sending me a card or a letter or whatever you'd like to send me, I just wanted to let you know that the address is down in the description box below if you're interested at all. I just kind of want to promote it a couple of times so that if anybody's interested, they can, because I did pay for it. So if nobody sends anything, which is perfectly fine, it won't be because I didn't say anything, right? Like, it'd be kind of funny if I opened it and said nothing and then was like shocked that I didn't get anything. But don't feel like you need to. This is totally just if it's something you'd like to do. If not, don't worry about it at all. It's just I want you guys to know if you're interested, because I have been asked in the past if someone could send me a card or a letter, and I greatly would love to hear from you if that's something you'd like to do. Because I mean, we are in this industry where we like to make cards and send them and whatnot. So if you maybe don't have someone to send one to, you can absolutely send one to me, and I would greatly appreciate it. So let me know if that's something you are interested in, or send something and I will see it here down the road. But yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that that is in the description box if you're interested. So this foam tape is by far my favorite. As a Canadian, it can be interesting trying to get that Scotch version, and it's quite expensive, that 3M one. It's very, very expensive. I think that I have one roll and it cost me, I think it was like $50. But it was the only foam tape I could find to get my hands on. So it's a nice foam tape, don't get me wrong, but I just I don't have a preference for it. So the Big Mama foam tape is actually thinner than the 3M foam tape, and it was, I think, $30 something American, and it was cheaper for me to buy it and get it shipped to Canada with exchange than it was to buy the 3M foam tape. So if you're a Canadian viewer, because I know I have some of you, it is less expensive, and trust me, it is worth it. It's the most amazing foam tape I have used, as long as you like a small amount of dimension. So then I brought in this really cute little star stamp set. They came in that stamp set, and you saw me stamp it on top of the background there, and then I also stamped it on the inside around the sentiment. And then here I kind of felt like it was getting lost a little bit, so I did bring that acrylic ink back in, and I'm just adding little dots where there were dots from the stamp set to kind of try to highlight them a little more. You will see the stars. I didn't color those in. I just kind of colored in the little dots, and then I added a few extra just for a little bit of extra shimmer and shine, because I am a more is more style crafter and I love shiny things. So I feel the need to add shiny things to everything all the time. Although I did not add extra embellishments to this card. So there is that, I suppose. But I did bring in my, this is the Spectrum Noir clear glitter pen, and added a few shimmers to all of the pastel areas on the unicorns. And then I did also bring in my white gel pen just to add some highlights. There's no real rhyme or reason to where I'm adding highlights. I mean, honestly, this card doesn't really make sense in the sense that it has an rainbow and it's nighttime, right? So we're going whimsical here. It doesn't have to make sense. It's just cute and a lot of fun. That's all. And I've never made a shaped card. I generally stand to, like mini slimline, A2, 5x7 on occasion. I think I once made like a 4x4 or a 5x5 card. That's about it. I don't think I've ever done a shaped card. So this is a lot of fun to create. And I don't know why it took me so long. Maybe because creating the base was a bit interesting, but I had a lot of fun with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this card. I'd love to know what you think of the card now that you can kind of see it up close. You can kind of see all the detail of this super adorable card. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know. So I'd love it if you'd leave me a comment, leave me a like, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday, and all the Mondays up until Christmas will be Christmas cards. So I will see you guys again very soon. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching my video. Bye-bye for now.